You're not losing because you're a bad tank. You're losing because you're playing the wrong kind of tank in the wrong kind of fight. There are 3 styles of vanguards in this game. If you don't know which one you're playing or when to swap between them, you're going to get rolled. Let me show you how it actually works. These tanks don't rotate, they don't peel, and they definitely don't wait for someone else to lead. Their job is simple. Be the first one in and bring the fight to the enemy. As a main tank, you should learn how to control space, absorb pressure, and force the enemy to play on your terms. I'm talking people like Doctor Strange, Magneto, and now even Emma Frost. Generally, a good way to tell if someone is a main tank is if they have a shield. So if you're Doctor Strange and you're sitting back peeling for your Widow because you think you need to peel, you're not helping. You're making it worse. Strange shines when he's in the front line, giving his team the space they need to exist, allowing their DPS to take positions that allow them to get easier picks, or taking enough space for their supports to be able to take off angles where they can heal you but are out of the LOS of the enemy team. You pick a main tank when your team needs direction, and when they need a stable rock in the front line. When you're running more brawly people or people that need to get picks like Hela or even Bucky. Think about it, if you're playing DPS and you're playing Bucky, would you rather have a Venom diving their backline where you can't really help out, or would you rather have a Meg to be a source of solid foundation for you, to be able to get your hooks and push whoever you hook into your backline? Meg has his huge right click that helps push people even further into your team, or Strange has his E ability that helps execute enemies, and Emma even has her grip and kick combo. Yes, Venom is valuable and he's a really strong tank right now, but in this case, it just wouldn't work as well. Main tanks lead the tempo. They set the rhythm. If your main tank isn't dictating the fight, your team is already losing. These tanks don't do as good of a job as main tanks in taking space, but they do a really good job at maintaining it. They don't dive in. They hold the line, fill gaps, and keep fights winnable. Think Penny, Thor, Groot, or even Thing. Supportive off tanks are the reason your frontline doesn't collapse. They're the ones keeping your main tank alive and adding that extra power they need. Now that may be in many different ways. Thor and Thing have a better ability to brawl, so they do more damage, and given their utility, they are able to execute a lot quicker. Whereas people like Penny or Groot are really good, but they're more utility based. Penny has her webs and Groot has his walls. In a perfect scenario, your DPS would be the ones to peel. If you need a tank to peel, it would be one of your off tanks. You need to run supportive off tanks when your main tank is getting pressured, or when the enemy comp is full of burst and dive threats. It's important to know that supportive off tanks rarely ever carry by themselves. They amplify the frontline, they aren't the frontline. They make it possible for your Strange to push a little bit easier and allow him to play a little bit more aggressive and take a little bit riskier plays. In simple terms, off tanks don't make the play, they keep the play alive. I'll go a little bit more into how to know what to pick when a little bit later. For now, let's talk about dive tanks. These are tanks that kind of do their own thing and play a little solo compared to the rest of the team. People like Captain America, Venom, or sometimes even Hulk. Their job is to disrupt the enemy. They do this by either forcing cooldowns or just being annoying in their backline. They don't have the obligation of protecting their team. They force the enemy to protect theirs. A lot of people get this confused, but you don't flank to get kills. You flank to break their formation. Obviously, getting kills is a bonus, but you shouldn't be going in with the intention of, I need to get a pick, otherwise I'm useless. No. Just being the disruptor there is very, very useful, and a lot of people don't realize how much work they're doing. If you make the enemy turn, panic, and kind of position themselves, you already won. Think about it. How often is it that your supports are complaining about the Venom or the Cap diving in your backline? And how many times do you have to feel like you turn around and you can't even get the kill? By the time you're getting the Venom low, he pops his shield and swings away, or Cap just runs away and does his slam and just kind of gets out. Even though half the time they don't even get kills, it's so annoying and it forces you to turn around. You should pick a dive tank when you feel like the enemy is too comfortable and they're kind of just rolling you. Creating that disruption does a big difference and will sometimes flip the game completely. These tanks create chaos so your DPS can capitalize and land their elims. And because the enemy is staggering so much, it allows your main tank to take space much easier. Unlike main tanks and off tanks, dive tanks don't win by brawling. They win by forcing mistakes. Now let's talk about how to know what to pick when. You don't pick based off your favorite tank. You pick based off what your team needs and what your enemies are doing. Play a main tank when you're solo tanking or your team needs structure, and especially when you need to push or hold a choke. It bewilders me the fact that so many people don't play main tank on defense, and as a result we get rolled within the first 30 seconds of the fight. Anyways, you should play supportive off tank when you have another frontliner, or you're constantly being dove, or you're trying to play a more reactive role rather than a proactive role. In other words, trying to punish people for being too aggressive. And finally, you should be playing a dive off tank when you have other fast and aggressive DPS to play off of your dives. The enemy team has greedy supports or snipers that are pushing up too much, or you need to break their formation because they're rolling you and you need to have some sort of disrupt. And I can't believe I have to say this, but here's the key. If you're trying to play main tank role as Penny, you're throwing. Or trying to frontline with Captain America, you're throwing. And please stop trying to flank with Doctor Strange. I don't know why I've seen so many people, even in Celestial, flanking with Strange and not seeing the problem. And all they do is complain about why we're not taking space with him, or why we're not capitalizing off of him taking space, or why we're not healing him. My boy, you're in the backline. How the heck are we supposed to get there too? Now I know I said Hulk is dive, but it's worth mentioning Hulk doesn't always follow the rules. And that's why most players don't really use him right. You can play him like a dive tank for sure, slam in, cause chaos, use your bubble, get out. But a lot of people don't use him as a supportive off tank either, where you can peel for your team, bubble them, and keep going. Or you can stun someone that's playing too aggressive. Hulk is my favorite tank because he's adaptable and you're able to switch out his playstyle however you want and according to the situation around you. Like I said though, a lot of people get it wrong and don't really know when to do what. Some advice I'd give to those people is when you're starting off, choose how you're gonna fight before the fight even starts. Don't jump into their backline and wonder if you should start peeling. Pick a role and commit to it. At least at first. Maybe later when you get more comfortable, you can kind of use your bubble and jump back into your backline to help peel, and you kind of have that IQ. To summarize everything in this video, I want you to take away the fact that you should know how to make the right play and not just the right pick. Every tank has a role, and every role has a purpose. If you don't play to that purpose, you lose value. If you're new to tanking, maybe you should start every game with one question. Ask yourself, am I here to lead, to support, or to disrupt? Once you lock that in, you'll take space way more cleanly. Your team will know how to play with you and will play with more confidence. And you'll stop wondering why you feel so useless every fight. Master the role, not just the hero. If you want to show the channel some support, subscribe. And if you want another video like this but me talking more about supports, click here. Thanks for watching. See ya.